caranya bisa berbeda-beda, kita bisa mengambil kekuatan dari masing-masing itu. Disitulah suatu perusahaan atau organisasi bakal grow secara luar biasa. Dan itulah yang terjadi di Tokopedia. If you look at the leadership in Tokopedia, itu kita mempunyai berbagai macam different leaders, right? Dengan keunikannya masing-masing, dengan kekuatannya masing-masing. William Tanuwijaya, our co-founder, oh my goodness, he is like the visionary of the company. His vision is amazing. Right? Kita juga punya lagi ada beberapa orang di tempat kita juga yang mempunyai kekuatan yang luar biasa, mungkin bagian merchant, right? Namanya Gary. Gary itu salah satu vice president buat merchant, di mana dia yang kuat sekali dia dengan relationship dengan merchant, understanding dengan merchant, bagaimana kita bisa bikin merchant kita kuat dan macam-macam. Nah, disitulah kemajemukan itulah yang membuat indah. Tugas kita identify and membuat mereka selaras dengan satu visi. Dan setelah itu kalau kita berjalan bersama-sama karena visinya sama, tujuannya sama, dijamin berantem-berantem gak banyak. Gitu. Okay, next question.
Which one you want to choose? In the center?
Boleh, center tuh.
Good morning. My name is Irshan from International Business Administration. So my question is, how many years does it take for Tokopedia to generate profit? And how do you, as a leader, build your subordinates' trust to stay and continue to work with Tokopedia up to this point?
Sorry, yang kedua apa? Maaf.
How do you, as a leader, build their trust, your subordinates' trust, right? To stay and continue to work up until this point?
How do we build the trust?
Yeah.
Build the trust within the employee
The
itself.
employees, yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Oke, saya jawab pertanyaan yang kedua ya. Pertanyaan yang pertama, I cannot answer that, right? Oke, bagaimana kita build trust di Tokopedia, right? So, let me just share a bit of the excitement in Tokopedia so far. So, Tokopedia Tokopedia just celebrated our 9th year anniversary. Baru birthday nih, 9 tahun nih. And as per today, we are actually a technology company that continue focusing on our vision and mission, which is democratizing commerce through technology. Apa sih artinya democratizing commerce through technology? Tenang bro, I will answer your question, okay? Apa sih arti democratizing commerce through technology? Artinya adalah memeratakan ekonomi secara digital. Artinya, zaman dulu co-founder kita Pak Will sama Pak Leon itu datang dari humble family. They don't actually get a lot of exposure of overseas universities or a lot of that kind of thing, right? They are actually coming from humble family, but they have a very big vision. Visionnya adalah bagaimana orang-orang di luar daerah bisa mempunyai akses barang yang sama dengan harga yang terjangkau sama dengan di ibu kota. Nah, di zaman sekarang, di zaman kalian anak-anak muda sekarang, itu adalah pertanyaan yang sangat simple. Udah Pak, kan ada Tokopedia, pasti sama di mana-mana. Tetapi di zamannya saya, sekitar 10-15 tahun yang lalu, itu adalah sesuatu yang nggak lumrah. Yang lumrah adalah harga barang semakin menjauh dari luar kota, dari ibu kota, pasti lebih mahal. Karena ada tangan 1, tangan 2, tangan 3, belum logistik, belum apa gitu. The fact that Pak William and Pak Leon continue focusing on that vision, that actually makes us what Tokopedia is right now. We are serving 78 million monthly active users and 4 million merchants. Yang bikin kita excited adalah the 4 million merchant, guys. We are actually creating new kesempatan untuk UMKM yang baru. Karena 70% dari 4 juta itu adalah UMKM baru. Di mana secara tradisional mereka mungkin tidak punya sarana dan prasarana untuk mereka bisa membuka usaha. Dengan ada digitalization, we enable that. Nah, to answer your question, right? So, kenapa sih Tokopedia bisa kuat selama 9 tahun terus-terusan kayak begitu? Because our vision remains the same and everyone in our company understand the vision and the direction that we are doing. So everyone, we believe that everyone in Tokopedia is a leader. Including an intern that joined our company, they are also a leader. We never give them instruction on how to do things. At Tokopedia, we always give them a problem space. Right? Hey guys, this is the problem space that you are going to own. And this is the vision that we are going to do, which is democratizing more commerce through technology. This is our DNA, which is focused on consumer, growth mindset, make it happen, make it better. So once we actually give them all of that, and everyone is actually moving towards that, it's actually pretty easy for our company to continue staying and sustaining towards that. Just to give some excitement, 3 tahun yang lalu perusahaan kita cuma ada 200 orang. Tahun ini kita ada 2.600. So we have been growing 13 kali for the last 3 tahun. Engineering team, teknik, itu kita grow dari 200 ke 700 dalam 1 tahun. Right? So that kind of culture cannot sustain if we don't know the foundation. And to us, the foundation is the why, which is the vision and mission, and the how, which is our DNA. We don't actually tell our leaders how to do it. We just tell the leaders the DNA on how you should do stuff. And those are the stuff that continue making us innovating and front leading. I hope that answered the question. Okay, next one.
This one? Okay, on the left, right side.
Terima kasih untuk kesempatannya. Nama saya Satya dari International ICT Business. Di sini yang sudah kita ketahui kan Tokopedia ini sudah sangat besar ya. Ini pakai bahasa Indonesia nggak apa kan?
Gak apa-apa.
Oh ya. Jadi ya kita kan udah tahu ya semua ya Tokopedia itu udah sangat besar di Indonesia. Tapi di sini yang kita penasaran, saya mewakili teman-teman saya, bagaimana dulu Tokopedia waktu awal berdiri memarketkan company-nya kepada masyarakat di Indonesia. Bahwasannya dulu kan banyak sekali online media di internet seperti Kaskus segala macam itu yang sudah berdiri. Bagaimana dulu Tokopedia meyakinkan masyarakat bahwa Tokopedia inilah yang menjadi solusi bagi masyarakat di Indonesia. Terima kasih.
Oke, pertanyaan bagus lagi. Tepuk tangan dulu dong. Bagus pertanyaannya. Setia kan ya? Oke. So gini Setia. Pak William selalu bilang begini. Getting the trust from our customer is hard. Mengambil kepercayaan dari, dapat gelas. Saya juga mau. Mendapat kepercayaan dari customer itu hal yang sulit. Lebih sulit lagi is even harder to retain their trust. Right? So berdasarkan dari visi, berdasarkan dari berjalan dari perkataan saya itu, itulah yang membuat Tokopedia sampai sekarang masih ada. Right? Because what we are making sure is basically we care so much about our customers. Right? Focus our consumers basically our number one priority. So what we are doing, we are not just building a product. We are a technology company that's not just building a product. In fact, recently I told my team that, hey guys, stop building product. Terus temen aku pada bilang, hah? But I'm product owner, so I'm jobless now? No, don't get me wrong. You should stop building product. You should focus on understanding customer problem and genuinely fix it. Right? When you genuinely fix it, you are going to create a product that lasts. Right? When the product actually lasts, right, in a sustainable way, right, in a very good way such that it actually solves the real customer problem, this is where your customer is going to continue trust your ecosystem. I'll give you one example, right? One of our way to basically, kan kita tadi bilang ya, di financial technology, we actually want our DNA is not really just building a financial technology product, but it's more towards increasing the financial literacy and financial inclusion in Indonesia. Yang sekarang itu masih di sekitar 20% dan kita pengen naikkan, benar nggak? Jadi yang kita kerjakan dalam satu program kita adalah kita bertanya sama diri kita sendiri sebelum kita bikin produk. Apa sih yang menjadi masalah masyarakat Indonesia, challenges of Indonesian untuk tidak mempercayai financial product? Right? Ada banyak yang bilang, oh karena reach-nya nggak ada bank di tempat saya. Oh karena takut kalau taruh duit di tempat orang takutnya nanti nggak balik. Takut deh nanti jangan-jangan duitnya negatif, benar nggak? Bisa gitu kan ya? Nah hal-hal itulah yang akhirnya membuat kita membuat satu solusi untuk solve that problem. Kita punya solusi namanya reksadana, mutual fund, right? Berapa yang sini yang tahu mutual fund, reksadana? Right? Oh, tahu ya banyak ya. Nah banyak mindset dari orang Indonesia tentang reksadana itu rada unik. Mama saya termasuk. Mah, masukin ke reksadana. Wah, enggak deh. Bahaya. Ngeri. Duit bisa hilang. Wah, bisa hilang kemana mah? Bisa rugi gitu. Nah, but that is the market that we are basically serving. That is the market that we are trying to solve, right? So what we are doing is we are creating a special reksadana program that solve all of the problem. We solve 4 things in our Reksadana. Yang pertama, it is secure. Right? You want to make sure that we backed up with the real entity that actually secure. Karena we want to gain their trust. Right? Number 2 is lower barrier of entry. Banyak yang bilang begini kan, wah kalau reksadana harus punya duit banyak. Kalau duit lu nggak banyak, mana bisa lu masuk ke reksadana? Di kita through technology we make it such a way that orang bisa mulai menginvest dengan 10.000 rupiah. 10.000 men. That means that literally anybody can do it. Anybody. Ibu-ibu warung bisa menabung di reksadana, bener kan? Abang siomay bisa menabung di reksadana, bahkan sampai Pak Vice Rector juga bisa menabung di reksadana kalau mau, bener nggak Pak? Nah itu yang kedua. Yang ketiga, kita bikin liquidable. Banyak orang kan takut kan, wah gimana nih takutnya gue taruh di sini nanti bisa cair atau enggak atau apa. Through technology, kalau bagi kalian yang main saham, kalian pasti tahu ini. Ada yang termnya namanya T+3, T+3. Artinya perlu 3 hari buat mencairkan dana atau T+4. Ya jadi kalau Anda mau jual, kalian punya saham atau reksadana, itu 4 hari kemudian duitnya baru masuk. Right? Nah itulah yang terjadi di luar sana. Semua traditional banking ya kayak begitu. But through technology we challenge ourselves. Masa sih nggak bisa liquidable? In our platform we make it T+0. The moment you basically click sell, that moment juga duitnya ada di kalian punya wallet. Right? So that actually, kenapa sih kita bikin itu? Because we want to challenge ourselves, we want to challenge the status quo, supaya orang-orang Indonesia lebih tertarik dan lebih percaya towards the financial inclusion. So those are kind of the stuff that what we are doing to basically continue getting the trust and retaining the trust from our customers. At the meantime, we continue bringing our customer towards a better themselves. Does it answer the question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.
Oh, you want to take more questions?
Oh, oke, mungkin ya udah kita 2 question lagi habis itu udah ya, 2 more lagi ya. Yes. Okay. Itu kan?
In the center?
Oh, ya udah itu kamu satu lagi. Oh. Oh boleh dong, satu lagi. Dosen boleh enggak? Sangat boleh bos. Yaudah kamu, Bapak terakhir ya? Ya oke. Jangan susah ya Pak. Ya, halo.
Hi.
Halo.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning.
So, I think it's a personal question, but I really want to ask, in this millennial era, so sorry, I think people get disturbed and get, just like feel under pressure every day. What kind of motivation that make you wake up and think that I have to doing something today? Just like you have to be better than before.
Wah,
Okay.
pertanyaannya dalam banget ya. Waduh, how do I wake up every day? Oke. Oke. I wake up every day on my alarm clock sih, alarm clock yang bangunin aku. No, I'm joking. So, I think gini. I cannot talk to this generation in this kind of tone. Waktu zaman saya nggak bisa ngomong seperti ini. Tapi you guys are millennial leaders. Now I can say this. I think I challenge you to have a vision of your life. I really think you should have a vision of your life, right? You should know what you want to do 3 years from now. You need to know what you want to do 5 years from now, right? Kenapa sih perlu itu? That is the one that will be the anchor towards things yang bergerak dengan sangat cepat di sekarang ini. Dengan pergerakan teknologi, semuanya serba cepat ya. Wah semua serba cepat, kadang-kadang aja aku sering, kalau terlalu banyak hal yang aku harus kerjakan, kadang-kadang lupa ngapain lagi, tadi harus ngapain gitu. Nah, a lot of distraction. Distractions are very common in this society. We are agile, we are fast, but if you are not careful, a lot of distraction. To the point dan akhirnya kita ngerjakan semua, tapi nggak terarah. This is where your vision is very important. I have a vision for me, right? Aku mau balik ke Indonesia for the next 3 years. I want to make sure that not only I can actually help building Tokopedia to actually make it the e-commerce penetration to be better in Indonesia, but I have a personal vision to grow better Indonesian talent to be a world-class talent. So if you follow my LinkedIn, I have a hashtag called Building Better Indonesia, right? Which is like, I want to make sure ketika 3 tahun lagi, negara Indonesia sudah maju, semaju China atau India, the talent are also world-class, right? Itulah kenapa Tokopedia, including myself, we are really partnering a lot of universities and stuff. Those are the stuff that makes me wake up every day and get excited to work. Apakah di sehari-harinya arahnya banyak sekali distraction? Of course. Tetapi selama you have that vision, you understand 5 tahun ke depan what you want to do, 3 tahun ke depan what you want to be, what sort of problems that you are trying to solve, what sort of things that you are going to bring back to society, right? Man, you are going to continue following your path. Gitu sih, and you understand which one that you are going to take, which one you are going to deprioritize, which one that you are going to delay it a bit. Gitu. So, yes, you are correct, without any vision, orang bisa stres. Waduh, bangun-bangun pagi, to-do list-nya udah makin banyak. Nggak kelar nih, besoknya makin banyak lagi. Nggak kelar, makin banyak lagi. Bangun, wih gile, pusing ya gue ya. But when you understand the direction, you can easily cut off. Oh, I don't think I need to do this. I don't think I need to do this. These are the stuff that I need to do. Ada satu buku yang aku baca dan di situ benar-benar impacting aku banget sih. Namanya Eat the Frog. Eat the Frog. Kalau kalian punya waktu baca deh buku itu. Eat the Frog. It's about time management. Dia bilang begini. You should do 80% of your time to do only 20% that matters. You have to do 80% of your time to do 20% that matters. Kebanyakan dari kita bagi rata. Ada 100 item, ya udah kita kerjain satu. 1 menit. But what that book actually says, and actually really important, is you should spend 80 menit dari waktu kamu on the 20 things that matters. Sisanya you should actually just deprioritize. Because highly likely than not, the rest of the 80% is not that useful for you. Does it answer the question? Okay, thank you.
Our last
Okay.
questions.
Wah, Pak Lecturer nih.
Hi, Mr.
Tertekan nih.
Herman. Thanks
Yeah.
for stopping here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Anggasa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pak.
I'm one of the lecturer from the ICT business.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, this semester, most of our students, I challenge for create startup IT.
Wes,
Yes.
mantap.
So based on the engineering perspective, you as a VPA engineering, because most of our startup founder in our semester, they have like a big challenge to solve the problem to find a good engineer. As we know, for startup IT, we need engineer to develop startup running, for the good startup. So based on the engineering perspective in you experience, how or would you mind to give like step by step for being a good startup IT business for the student in Antailcam University?
Okay.
And then for the second questions, would you mind to explain like your experience in engineer Tokopedia? Like when you entry the Tokopedia until now, experience and because Tokopedia is one of the like our unicorn in Indonesia, and then they grow so fast, so rapidly. So would you mind to explain and give some motivation to our students? Thank you.
Oke, saya orangnya gampang pelupa Pak Angga. Jadi ntar pertanyaan kedua mungkin saya bakal tanya lagi ya Pak ya.
Alright,
Oke.
thank you.
Oke, pertanyaan pertama. How do you build a startup? Wah, sekarang nih pertanyaan yang sangat common nih. Wah, mau bikin startup. Kenapa? Biar cepat kaya. Gitu kan ya banyak orang ya. I think when your mindset is that, you already not in the right track. Right? Again, the reason why Tokopedia exists until today, right? Is about understanding who your customer is. That's the most important thing. I got the opportunity to basically mentor and look at some of the startup through the startup conferences and everything. Menurut saya 80% dari mereka sudah gagal untuk berperang karena mindset mereka salah Pak. Mindset mereka adalah wah gue mau untung, right? Untung akan datang, trust me, that will come, right? But the most important thing is understanding what is the real customer problem that you are trying to solve, right? And focusing on that. That is your core focus, right? And you build everything else, your product innovation, your UX based on that. Because when you're building a UX or a product for a target market of ibu-ibu jualan warung, dengan target marketnya Bapak Vice Rector, itu berbeda sekali. Right? Apalagi membuat satu produk yang cover the whole gamut of things. Itu berbeda sekali. Bisnis modelnya juga berbeda. Siapa yang kita mau partner, bagaimana kita mau partner, apakah kita masuknya dengan niche market dulu, baru akhirnya kita grow, atau kita masuknya dengan global market, baru kita kerucutin. Contoh, kemarin teman saya, kita share panel kemarin sama teman saya, which is the head of business of fintech, dia cerita di Tokopedia tuh ada beberapa jenis merchant. Ya, jualan gelas aja jenisnya banyak Pak, right? Ada yang jualan gelas secara makro, dia jualnya satu gelas Rp1.000, tapi gelas kosong. Nah udah gitu ntar bisa diwarna-warnain di apa, wah tapi 1.000 murah banget sih ya, saya juga bingung itu produksinya gimana gitu ya. Nah ada lagi yang ngejual gelasnya udah didandanin, ada gambar kupu-kupunya atau apa, itu Rp15.000, right? Nah cara masuk startup juga mirip Pak, apakah kita mau masuknya secara makro dulu, atau kita masuk secara niche dulu baru kita ini. Salah satu contoh adalah Amazon. Amazon is an ecosystem company yang masuknya secara niche. Dia masuk jualan buku dulu. Right? Waktu zaman dulu siapa yang berpikir gitu? Orang jualan buku, right? Akhirnya bisa menjadi one of the largest e-commerce marketplace di Amerika. Right? And I think we have to first understand what customer problem you are trying to solve. Who are they? How you want to solve it? Have the same vision that you can actually carry on for the next 10 years. Then after, ask yourself, how are you going to enter the market? How you are going to enter the market? How you are going to fund your startup? Is it revenue based? Is it based on valuation? Karena strateginya beda. Nah ada orang bilang, saya mau dua-duanya, oke. Saya cuman oke, right? Karena kebanyakan either you have to choose. Karena dengan nanti pergerakannya bisnis operation yang akan sangat berbeda antara bisnis yang bekerja dengan mengandalkan revenue dan mengandalkan valuation. Promotionnya bakal berbeda, apanya bakal berbeda. Nah technology to me is always the last. It's always the last discussion. Kenapa to me technology is the last discussion? Technology doesn't actually solve problem. Technology enables problem to be solved faster. Dengan sekarang ada machine learning, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, better way of managing data, yang dulunya harus punya database yang wah gedenya dahsyat, sekarang big data semuanya gampang.